Sci-Fi. Hey everybody, welcome to Real Life Sci-Fi with Wade and Willie. I'm Wade.
I'm Willie.
This is a podcast about the paranormal and contemporary mythology. Join us on patreon.com/reallifesci-fi for access to 2 bonus episodes a week, video feeds, and more. RealLifeSciFi.show is where all of our links are. Become a friend of Charlequan on our Patreon, and then you can produce an entire episode and we'll say your name. And there's like 20,000 people watching. So that's famous, right?
Get your shout out.
Willie? That's famous, right?
Yeah.
All right, let's welcome aboard the SSRLSF. It's our friend, music director, and founder of the Hollywood Horror Fest, Miles Flanagan. What up, Miles?
Hey, how are you doing, everyone in Hollywood land?
Yeah.
Doing great. For everyone that doesn't know, that we're recording on election night, so we're just avoiding the the mess.
I was actually curious about who would agree to do this. I don't know that a lot of our guests would be like embedded in the television for tonight. So, but thank you for using us as a distraction.
What's your favorite video that you've directed?
Probably the first one I did for the Pogues, White City, because I had absolute, total, utter mad control over it. So it was. I was hanging out with the band, and Shane would come over and we'd shoot stuff, and it was bits of live action, and then animation, and full-size photocopy animation, full-size greyhounds. We shot a greyhound, and then we got the footage, and then we made full-size photocopies of the greyhound, a walk cycle. So we had about, 80 foam core mounted full-size greyhounds that we replaced one frame at a time, outside, time-lapse photography. We were setting things on fire and shooting them one frame at a time. We had a blast. It was great. And it was straight from college. So I hired the college to make it. So it was just like being at college. So I felt it was great.
What is this stage that they're on? I'm looking at it now.
That was New York. Peter Doherty shot some of that. The late, great Peter Doherty, who got me the job. He used to direct all their videos. And then for some reason, he phoned me up out of the blue last day at college and said, do you want to direct a video of the Pogues? And I'd never met him before, but I actually had met him. I'd met him in LA at an animation festival. Hence, that's why I do festivals, because that kickstarted my career. But he shot that stuff. I've got some amazing footage still from that, from when they shot. Was that Madison Square Gardens? Is that outside? I don't know.
It looks like it's outside. Somewhere. It's very light.
It was during rehearsals that they shot that. And then I've got footage of Joe Strummer backstage, things like that. Really cool stuff that's never seen the light of day. That's back in Yorkshire. I don't know much about in some attic. Great band.
I like the sound. What did they stand for? Were they like a IRA type band?
IRA band? No. Well, you'd have to keep that quiet if you were an IRA band. I don't think you'd ever get on top of the pops. You'd be immediately banned from anywhere. No, they were.
This is the only thing I know about Ireland.
No, they were a great pub band. Like, you'd hear the music in the pub and you just sing along and just order another pint of Guinness.
So they're just good time fellas. Just a good time.
Yeah, they were absolutely. Yeah, and they were one of the best live acts around. But yeah, it was a blast. And I hung out with them.
Aren't they? They're still kind of kicking around, aren't they?
Shane MacGowan died. Was it last year?
Oh, recently?
Years back. Yeah, and then they made a documentary. I know they reached out to me for footage, but I'm keeping my.
Did you give them any?
To myself? No, no. That's how I regret it is. Straight afterwards, I thought maybe I should have done. But really, I was saving the footage for a friend, because it's footage that primarily features Joe Strummer, and he's been trying to get a Joe Strummer documentary made for a while. So I wanted to keep that for him. That's the reason why I just kept it.
Cool.
Yeah, quiet.
So you did the show pretty recently. I
get fan mail still.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. No.
Really, we don't even get fan mail. No.
No, I just get these buxom women knocking on my door.
You're welcome.
It's your fan base.
Just hot chicks are the only things that listen to us. You're more of a. Let's just do the wow scale real quick.
Wow scale.
The wow scale stands for Wade or Willie. You might have. People do. It's 5-question quiz. At the end of the quiz, I'll give you a score anywhere between 0 and 5. If you're more of a 0, you're more of a Wade. If you're more of a 5, you're more of a Willie. Are you ready to be Wade on the wow scale?
Absolutely.
All right. First question, 3-parter. Do you believe in aliens? If so, have they visited Earth? If so, have they visited Earth in the last 300 years?
Is there alien life somewhere? Mm-hmm. Is it amoeba type alien life? Well, if we go that far, then it could be. Yeah, I'm sure there is some form. I don't think it's necessarily intelligent life. What was the other one? Have they visited us?
Visited Earth?
No.
At any time in history?
No, absolutely not. No, unless it's microbes, bacteria. Does that count?
It could, yeah. They could visit on an asteroid.
They have, because that's the history of the Earth. Because we've had meteorites crashing into Earth when Earth was purely molten, and it's created the Earth. So it's sort of yes, but it's really a no, isn't it? Because we're really imagining aliens being
tardigrades. Yeah.
But here's the kicker. Here's the real one. Have they visited Earth in the last 300 years?
No.
There we go.
Because if they had, they would have visited me.
Yeah. Sound like a friend of mine, Stephen Hawking.
Oh.
He was like, "Oh, there's no time travel. I had the time travel party, and I didn't tell anybody till after. Nobody showed up, so it's not real."
Yeah, nobody wants to hang out with an asshole, dude, because like you're in a wheelchair, so we can't yell back at you. It's not fair. He sucks, right? He's like he's known to have sucked.
Yeah. Plus, it's a time cop trap.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Who's gonna fall for that? Oh, a time travel party? Sure, I'll be there. Steven. Ghosts.
If ghosts are some form of just recorded past existence, energy, possibly. I mean, look at videotape. Look at how we watch things just like now over the internet.
We should say no, though, right? I mean, that should be a no.
But not ghosts in the classical sense.
Yeah, I think it should be a
ghost.
No. Yeah,
is a no in the classical sense of like a guy holding his own head and that kind of thing. No,
but also you don't think any of that energy is sentient, like interactive?
No, I don't. I think it's just recorded.
Bigfoot? No,
sadly.
Illuminati?
No.
The multiverse?
No.
Wow. Yeah, you're like a -1 this time.
Yes, negative. How can I be negative? Where's the negative?
Because I'm unsure about my beliefs, and so you could be a 0 if you want, but
okay,
you might be a little harsh on aliens for my liking. So there you go. That's the wow scale. We did it quickly. And with that being said, Willie, hit us with the topic.
Tonight on Real Life Sci-Fi, the Oliver Castle crop circle formation video featuring 2 UFO orbs. Is this real? This video has sparked intense debate among believers and skeptics alike, raising questions about the authenticity of the phenomenon. I've flip-flopped on this thing. Join us as we examine the evidence, analyze the footage, and explore the possibility of this crop circle being formed by 2 UFO orbs. Tonight on Real Life Sci-Fi.
Okay, I've seen this. What year is this from?
So this came out in 96.
Okay. So crop circles are kind of established at that point. I mean, Led Zeppelin had them on their album cover. So.
Yeah. Well, I know. I do want to ask Miles, what do you think of crop circles in general? Like, what do you think it is? What do you think's happening? Like, anything paranormal in there?
No, it's purely pop culture, and it just started with one of my favorite films, Saul Bass's Phase 4. And then it just developed from that. I mean, that was one of the first times you'd ever seen it in a film. What was Phase 4? 1970? Was it 74? Phase 4? Anyhow, it's about intelligent ants.
74, yeah, you got it.
Yeah, intelligent ants. And Saul Bass is the guy who created the Warner Brothers famous, the red Warner Brothers logo with the W done in like lozenge type things.
Yeah.
And he storyboarded the shower sequence in Psycho, and he did all Alfred Hitchcock's title sequences.
All right, so here's what I'm seeing, Alfred. Just a close up of the knife, and then her face screaming, Doesn't seem like there's a lot to storyboard. The close up of the drain. I'm not taking it away. It's
No, but do you know how many
iconic-
shots they had in that? It was a lot of shots. I can't remember. There's a name
was
of the
there
film,
really?
isn't there? About how many shots there are. I can't remember. It's a lot.
Yeah.
What did you
It's
think? What
hell
did
of
you
a
think when Van Sant did his remake with Vince Vaughn and he just did it shot for shot? Was that a cool troll move or was it lame?
I can understand why he did it, because he's basically saying, I can't better this.
Yeah.
So all I'm going to do is film it in color. And he's used the same score, and I'm just going to do stuff that we couldn't do with the censor, which is like having Vince Vaughn, apparently jack off while he's staring through the little hole. Was it Anne Hesh?
Yeah.
But did it add anything? No, they should have just re-released it. It was a pointless exercise. It was, and maybe that's what he was saying. Maybe he just took the money.
I think that was his. I do think that.
I think that's his point.
Ooh, yeah, that's interesting, because he definitely. I'm going to assume the studio pushed it onto him. It's their money. It's their.
Well, for sure. If they didn't push it on him, he agreed just to like kind of give him the middle finger by doing that, I think, right? Because if anyone else would have done it, it would have just been one of these other remakes that's just like, whatever.
Yeah.
The first Psycho I saw was Psycho 4.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
I didn't even know they made it Psycho 4.
Yeah, they
Psycho 4 is crazy because it's the one where he's calling into a late night radio show and like basically admitting that it's him. So it has flashbacks, and it was just a weird one to watch first.
Well, Psycho 3 is really good. Is that the one? Psycho 3, was that the one that Anthony Perkins directed? Was it Psycho 3? Did he do 4?
I'm not
Is
sure.
that the one with Billy?
Who?
Is it Billy Zane?
Billy Zane? What year was
sound-
Psycho 4?
89 is my guess. 89,
The sequels are
1990.
pretty good.
90.
So Psycho 4 is Anthony Perkins.
Did he direct it?
Whoa, made for television. No, Mick Garris.
Oh, Mick. Yeah. Okay. So, no, Psycho 3 is really good. Because I saw them I think it was last year at the Beverly. They showed 2 and 3, maybe even 1. I can't remember. I know it was 2 and 3. And two's the one that everyone says, yeah, that's so good. And it was good. But when you saw 3 was directed by Anthony Perkins.
Anthony Perkins,
It's really good, and it stands out. It's way better than 2.
I don't believe
standalone, a great movie.
Really? I don't think I knew that they made any sequels to Psycho. This is all new for me.
And then they did Bates Motel with Bud Cort.
So the first one I watched was made for TV.
Yeah.
Cable though. Yeah, it was cable.
Probably. Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So I'll have boobs and blood.
Exactly. So here's my relationship with this video real quick. I saw this in like 98. So in the video, somebody's watching a field, these 2 UFO orbs show up, and then basically a crop circle forms underneath them. So I feel like
everyone has had to have seen this, right?
Right, for sure. So when I first saw that, I was like, oh shit, because there's definitely been a lot of UFO orb sightings in what I believe. I do believe that there's some crop circles that are real. I don't know. I personally think it's some kind of energy phenomenon happening, maybe from the ground. But at any rate.
Well, no, don't at any rate that. What do you mean? Like magnetic fields or something?
Yeah. So there's like in the crop circles that are quote unquote real, they have.
Well, hang on. Real quick. Miles, we've talked about crop circles before, and the only interesting thing that I think I've learned about crop circles is there's ones where the reeds are broken, right? And then there's ones where the reeds are just like kind of laid down and not broken. That's the difference between the real ones and the fake ones, right? Because the fake ones, you've seen the guys with the boards who go around, they just have like the 2x4 on the strings and they just go around in circles.
So they break the stalks.
Yeah.
And then the paranormal ones, they have been bent in such a way that they still continue to grow. Like they've been healed. There's like weird nodes on them where they can continue to grow. They weren't broken. And also there's the anomalies of like batteries die instantly when they go into the circle. There's like weird magnetic fields going on. So in the realm of crop circles, there are some that have paranormal attributes.
Why would crops be affected by magnets? They're not metal.
What I kind of think is happening is there's some sort of energy burst coming from something with the magnetic field, and that energy it makes the shapes because they're just geometric patterns of three-dimensional energy
from within the Earth, you're saying?
Yeah.
I just see it as a cultural phenomenon because it grew from a certain time period in a certain area, certain country.
I mean, it got big.
More
There's
popular, and then it died out.
Been some feature, there's some early ones, and there's old First Nations people having stories, even in America, of crop circles happening. So there are some anomalistic story. I think a lot of them are fake.
Yeah,
but I do think there's a weird. I mean, like, how do First Nations people in America have stories of crop circles?
Well, that's if they are stories of crop circles. I'd have to read them because I know if you're looking for crop circles, you'll read it into a story, whatever you want it to be. And so, like, I know there's a story from the 1600s. Was it America or?
I think there's one from the UK? 1860s from the UK.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, something like that. And I don't see anything to do with crop circles there. It was about a field and a farmer's dispute, and then there's one illustration, but it's a pretty crap illustration, and it's very stylized. And I think to see that and you have to look at illustrations in those days. They weren't illustrative in a documentary way. They were purely just to get a story and idea across. So to treat it as a documentary image, that's not what it is. So I always take stories from the past with a pinch of salt because we can just reimagine them and repurpose them to whatever we want them, whatever story we want them to fit. Do you know what I'm saying?
I definitely get that. Interpreting an old story, you can project our version of it onto the old story. Yeah. Let's play this video real quick. Now, like I said, this is from some other YouTube videos. There's the two orbs. There's it forming. You've got some camera shake going on. What's cool about the topic tonight is it doesn't matter what you believe these crop circles are. The biggest debate here, which has brought it back to me, because when I first saw it, I was like, oh shit, this is real. And then I heard that somebody came out and was like, oh, I made this. I'm like, okay, I don't need to look back at this because it was pretty, I think that it was pretty embarrassing for people to believe it and then be like, yeah, I made this. Fuck, you got me. Before YouTube, before the internet was big, before, they have a record of when crop circles were made. There's websites that track them because they're just trying to collect all the data. And these farmers, the last thing they want is anybody coming to their property to look at crop circles. So when they find them, they usually try to just get rid of them right away. Sometimes people will get there early and be like, oh, no, you have to wait. We have to check this out. We have to investigate this. So this particular crop circle that was in this video only lasted for 2 days. So tonight's topic is really, could someone have made this video in 1996 in less than a day?
Right. So in 96, you had digital editing stuff, right? Like, Miles, you would know better. What kind of
working then?
What did you have? Like, was Avid around?
Everything was commercial.
What do you mean commercial?
The 90s.
There was no prosumer
got it.
version of any digital editing.
But there's like Video Toaster and stuff, and like, I guess you could call those professional. I don't know that it matters. If whoever made this made it on something, they're not a consumer, right? They're definitely a professional. Yeah. So they would have access to it.
Mm-hmm. Here's the story. All right.
Okay.
This crop circle shows up. The next day, this guy shows up at the pub and plays the video for people. Everyone's freaking out, going, oh, shit. Oh, shit. Then later on, he comes back and says, yeah, I made this. When it played in the pub, it was the second day. It was a pub that crop circle enthusiasts went to. And it was the second day that thing was there. And it was later gone that day, that crop circle. This guy later on came out and claimed that he made it. So people started looking into his stuff. This is where it gets kind of tricky. He went by the name of John Whaley. That's what he said his name was. And then he was gone. People couldn't find him. And then later on, people tracked him down, found out his real name, John Wabe, W-A-B-E. They tried to interview him and he took off. But in the video that he claimed, when he first came out and said that he claimed making this thing, the software that he said that he used, I forget the name of it. I have it somewhere, but whatever. The software at the time cost between $125,000 and $250,000. And he worked for a company. The net worth of that company was $72,000. So yeah, sure, they could have gotten loans, whatever. But the small editing company, they could have had it, but it doesn't.
They could have leased it, or Yeah, there's lots of ways you could do it.
Yeah,
and I just checked like After Effects. Yeah, I know I was using After Effects, and that
You were
started
using
in
After
90.
Effects?
Yeah, I was using After Effects. After Effects started in 92 or 93, I think something like that. So 96, yeah, because I know I was using After Effects in the States and I was working in the States. Before that, I'd used Photoshop, but I used it like a downshooter. So I'd take frames. There's ways of doing it. It's not complicated.
Well, sure. Let me let you guys in on a little secret. The words at the beginning of Star Wars are not flying through space. But they didn't but they didn't actually use anything for that. They just shot it kind of like I think what you're talking about, right? They had a big long thing of words and they just kind of like trucked the camera over it. So a weird way to do it, but all right. I guess you do what you got to do.
Well, yeah, in the 70s, yeah.
the software that he used was Quantel's Paintbox.
Oh, Paintbox. Yeah, we used that at college, and that was in 87, 88.
What was it capable of?
Pretty much everything that you can sort of TV stuff like this. Yeah, painting things out.
Do you think you could have made this video back then in 96? And how long do you think it would have taken you?
Afternoon.
Because he didn't make this crop circle. He didn't claim to make this crop circle.
No. I mean, is there a better quality version of it? I mean, we're looking at such low res.
No. It basically exists on VHS. And this video that they were stealing it from was the video I saw. It's just from some documentary that...
Yeah. I mean, that's the difficult thing. It's such a low res thing. You know, I mean, I would say the tricky thing would be because it's hand. That's if it really is handheld. It could have been handheld. Yeah. That could have been afterwards. I mean, there's things that you can do now a lot easier.
Right. So
but in those
like
days, you could still do it frame by frame. You can still do it frame by frame. Mm-hmm. You can just match with a difference map. You know, like he said, he took an image of the field from another part and he dropped it over, and then you can sort of match it with the other movement. You just do it frame by frame. I used to do that all the time. So it didn't feel like it was slipping. And it's a short sequence. It's not a lot of work. It's a very short sequence. Again, you'd have to look at the original. I mean, he could have even shot it just stationary, locked off on a tripod, which would make it super easy. And then he could have zoomed in and created that camera move afterwards. Even in those days, you could. It depends. You'd be able to tell if he probably did it more of the original handheld. Yeah, it's possible. It's very possible. I mean, you got to remember what films were being made during that period. You know, 93, 94, 95.
What would you do though to make the crop circles?
The orbs.
Well, the orbs I think are the easiest part.
The orbs
they're just floating on top.
The only
they just
hard
kind of
part
float,
about it
I'm sorry, what?
Matching the camera movement, right?
Yeah, I'm with Miles. I think he added that later because, like, if you look at the beginning of it, he takes a wide shot of the field and he like zooms in and out, and then it cuts and it's the orbs. But I'll bet he's adding that camera move.
I mean, looks like it's kind of a natural camera move. There's motion blur on it. It depends. I mean, you could video there's not video in a video screen. I know that. I just think, look at the effects that people were doing at the time. Well, Independence Day was around about this time.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's not like we're going back to the side.
I mean, Jurassic Park was like 3 years before this.
Yeah.
So you have a self-taught dude who's just wanting
we're all self-taught. Yeah.
It's break into or so yeah. Okay, hold on. We'll play it one more time because my favorite thing about this is how when the crop circle comes in, it's not just a dissolve. You know, there's like pieces.
Okay,
that's what I was going to ask. I was going to ask because the crop circles sort of grow in a way, and I was wondering how you would do that for that.
Are they really growing, or is that just is that just a matte and a fade?
If it's a matte, it's not the whole frame. You know.
Really use
this. This one grows. This one grows. This one, and then this one. Like,
I think that
the outer shows up later.
Yeah, but to me that just looks like a matte and a fade. It's
well, no, explain it because like Willie's not a visual effects guy at all, and I'm a very rudimentary.
Can you go through? You can't go through it frame by frame back, can you?
Here, wait, Willie.
No.
But so, what would you do? So, if you wanted to make those crop circles grow, like, what would you do? What would you?
Okay, you've got your layer. This is your original footage with the crop circles on it. And then you put a layer over it, which is fake, full field, whatever, even if it's from a different. And then you can actually paint. You could paint, even in those days, you could sort of clone it. So it would look, you're pretty much matching it. If he's able to track everything, like this moves with that, then you keep the fake field there. So it doesn't, you know what I mean? So it doesn't disappear. So it helps the illusion. You keep the fake, and then you just paint a hole and you animate those holes.
Well, what if it's an actual crop circle that he has footage of? How would you dissolve?
Well, that's what you've got your plate with your crop circle, and
so
then
you're just erasing the plate with the non.
Yeah, but you don't erase the whole plate. You only erase the holes with the crop circle, and that keeps the illusion greater. Because if you just faded that plate out, the grass, the crops underneath would be different from the crops on top. Right.
Plus, it would look more like a dissolve and less like a because it does look like it's like happening.
Yeah, because you paint out, you're animating a matte. So you
think he did it frame by frame, just like with the erase? He's just kind of going around frame by frame, or was there a way to kind of animate?
Well, yeah, you animate it frame by frame. You animate a matte. So the matte could be anything from. First of all, you create that little dot there. That's your first dot, your first frame, and then this is the hole you're creating that's revealing, and then the next one's a little bit bigger, and then if you want, you could paint a little bit on the edge. So it's a rim, and at the same time, you're doing a fade. So it just feels, and it's over only. I don't know. Did they say it was 10 frames?
I counted it. It was like 15 seconds or something like that.
Yeah, so 10 frames a second.
They said it was 10 frames a second. Yeah, 150 frames.
Yeah, so
that's easy.
So not that many frames. You just paint, and you create the illusion. When I said,
Willie, my question is: this guy admitted to it. So you're saying that the mystery is more about this guy?
Yeah, he kind of disappeared after, and then when they tried to track him down, he was fishy in a weird way. Let's watch this real quick. This
is the one I just sent. It's just the part that everybody uses without a bunch of bros talking about it. So you got your matte. This is the shot I'm talking about. That's not the effect shot. That's just a big wide shot that he took. Now I'll bet this is locked down. How hard would it be to do a camera shake back then?
Not very difficult. And you could actually add your own motion blur individually on top. You can fake it.
Okay, hold on. Let's watch. This is somebody trying to analyze the orbs and how it grows.
Just basically, what are they doing?
They're showing you that
they got some kind of lumetry scale or there's some.
Yeah. Bullshit. So basically, this would be he's basically drawing the matte, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So to you, this is all easy peasy, right?
Well, yeah, it's doable. Nothing. I mean,
you can see where it doesn't match up with the camera, right? I mean, like, look at them pulsating.
Yeah, I don't know specifically what I
I did watch that, and I didn't know what he was talking about. I know he was talking about something in the hedgerow, like the gates or something, of light changing on the gates, but with such low resolution imagery.
For real, it's like
it's even if this
everyone's
was real,
using that same crappy it is a VHS video.
Yeah, that's being digitized, and then it's low res, and it's just gone through hell, which makes it more exciting to look at. I think.
Yeah, it completely helps.
I think my bad memory is trying to say that, like, I feel like he's trying to say that these orbs, like these little details in the orbs, like, would be hard to create because there's like.
Are they on the fence or something? I don't know. I think it's very doable.
Well, should we listen to him? See what he's saying?
When they showed you on the example, I thought, yeah, that could work. I don't know what software I used, or was it be Windows 95 or something back then? I did look at
Is
some
this guy your friend?
interviews with some graphics people.
He sounds just like you. Is he
one
your
of them was
friend?
saying they use like Mayo and Max and stuff.
He sounds just like
they would find it, enough of a task. But back then, doing that kind of work in that short time, it's all that throws it out for me. But
it's not that short.
The overlay works.
It doesn't need a lot of time.
But the time scale is so crazy. I don't know how it could
they build it into something it's not.
What would I call it? A ping pong once, like the old grandstand ping pong thing, with the blips. But when you go in and you see the
go to the shape, or is that what he's about to get into?
Yeah, that's what I was trying to let him describe it.
I know.
Don't see
I'm sorry that I interrupted the stupid man.
Not as much. It's.
He is.
Did he do that? I don't know how he could have done that.
Yeah.
And what would I call it? A ping pong once, like the old grandstand ping pong thing, with the blips. But when you go in and you see the movements, when you slow it down, and you see it kind of turning and stuff, which you don't see as much. Well, you can see it if you go in, but not as much. It's. Did he do that?
So does it match? One of the big claims was as to why it might be genuine rather than fake is that the guy had filmed the original footage with a handy cam and it was not on a tripod, so it was a bit shaky. And so they've had to line up the overlay perfectly matching the shakiness. And obviously being able to do something like that in that short time frame of one evening seems very difficult. From what you've seen,
says the person who's never
does it look like it matches with the did you see differences? Did you see? Was there anything that made you think, this is an overlay, or did it make you think it was genuine?
Because the frame rate is so slow, it's so bad. It's like 10 frames a second when I first put it on. You get a lot of blockage with the movement, and you get that on the field where the objects aren't. But one of them just seems to kind of interact with the hedgerow at the back. When they go to the back and they're up, the one on the right just seems to, like it goes in it or behind it. When I first did the alterations to it, I zoomed right in on the back hedgerow. It was like a gatepost. And I got that area to make it look as, to keep that as clean as I could do while I made the alterations. So I knew there was nothing throwing out too much. And that's when I could see the shapes and the movement inside it. And the hedgerows still look pretty good considering how bad it was in the first place, And then there was when I did that high resolution thing, when I did that zoom in, I blew the pictures up to massive size. You saw those weird things in each frame. Was I've never seen. What gets me is, I don't understand how all this stuff works, but I have never seen anything like that happen on anything I've done before.
So it's just some weird tangent, right? That some weird artifact.
Why? Yeah, why is that not just an artifact? I mean, you're taking something that was shot and digitized.
I used to do a lot of stuff like that. Like when you I used to like blurring things and doing basically sort of what he's doing a brightness contrast on it, and you'd get these weird shapes. It's weird artifacting. I used to do it with photocopies. Keep zooming into a photocopy and you get these weird artifacts, and you can keep zooming in and you can read it. Oh, I've never seen that before. So what? It's just an artifact and it's not it's got nothing to do with anything. But what I always find amazing is that people, they want to make this, how could this possibly have happened in such an amazing short period of time? No, it's not a short period of time in which to do very relatively. You could do it by eye. You could layer something on top of something else, and then you can make sure you register it. You can do it frame by frame and go backwards, and if it feels like it's moving, just tweak it. And you've only got a few. I used to do that kind of thing a lot. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I've never done anything like that intricate, but I know what it takes, and it doesn't take a long time. It just takes a lot of just it's what's
Just a
the
bit of
word? It's
skill.
it's monotonous.
Ultimately though, they hired the wrong expert.
Yes.
They did. We got a better expert than they did.
Yeah. So
that guy sucks.
He says, and I'm no expert on this.
Oh, he did.
Get off. Just get the fuck
What are
off.
you doing, man?
And I've never done this before. He says things like that. So like
he's talking about he talked about when the orb goes through the hedge, and like I don't feel like it interacts with it at all. It dims a little. When
they didn't do a good job of showing it at all. I'm like, I didn't.
No, they didn't.
But
but I know what he's talking about, and that just seems like a opacity setting to me. Like, yeah, just set it at like 80%, and then when it goes over the darkest part of the video, it's going to dim a little bit, right?
Yeah.
I mean, here's a funny thing about him, right? He only has his IMDb credits. He only has like 6 IMDb credits. The guy, John Wade. So like one.
This is the guy, the original guy.
Yeah, got it. One idea was the video was fake. He did it. It's not real, and that he's just trying to. He came forward
like a calling card. Like, hey,
yeah,
look.
yeah. But he didn't get any work from it.
But we don't know that. We don't know that. Okay.
Well, I mean, not everything shows up on IMDb, but
no, it doesn't, because I've got like so much work that is not on IMDb. Is mainly for movies. And I managed to get maybe 2 or 3 commercials on there, but the vast majority of my work was commercials, and it's not there. There's no Pringles, there's no McDonald's, there's Toys R Us.
Is the worst.
There's just
according to IMDb, I worked on MTV's Parkour Challenge, and I've never heard of that. But
oh wow,
I got a credit on IMDb for it.
But just saying though, the funny thing about this guy is the photo that he uses is taken from the documentary where he says that he made it. So it's like this weird.
So, but wait, you were saying
pixelated picture of him with a hat on.
I think that's funny. That's the sort of thing I would do if that was my.
No, I know. He sounds like a performance
as well.
Yeah,
that's something that I'd do, especially if I didn't really, I'd got out of it, or maybe it got a little bit too much for you. I don't know, but I don't see that as fishy, and I don't see the credits as fishy because 99% of my credits are not on IMDb. So it looks like I've never worked since I first got here in the States.
Wait, but isn't the fishy part that he he gave a fake name or something, and then they found his? Isn't that what you said?
Yeah. He said his name was John Whaley.
Well, he used that initially, the John Whaley.
Yeah.
I can sort of understand that if you're doing this thing that you're trying to fool people. First of all, it's a silly idea.
You don't want to be
and then you might be thinking, oh shit, hold on. And so you just give it a slightly different name. I don't see, and even if it's fishy, it's just a bad choice on his part. I don't think it changes anything. I don't think it adds to, the whole.
Yeah, I mean, he did more of himself a disservice for not putting his real name or company.
Probably.
But that I think that was. So I don't know this guy, but to get into his head, I think he was like, well, I can't use my name because people know that I'm a visual effects guy, and so they'll bust it immediately, so I'll just use like a different name, and then it like got really big.
No, but this was on Discovery. This documentaries of like weird stuff, and so it took extra long for it to come out that it was fake.
So
Willie, you knew that Miles was going to bust this, and then I would back him up. What's the thing? Are you curious about this? Just John Wabe?
The thing was, I didn't know it would get busted so easily. I didn't know that you know what I mean, that you were capable of this back then. Because to me, 96, sure, there's movies coming out, but on the personal level, like I was just under the guise that you couldn't get the proper software and have the turnaround to make this on your own without having a big company.
Mm-hmm. You could even do it in Photoshop, frame at a time, because that's what I did that once. I did an entire commercial. It was before. Yeah. So we're talking before After Effects, which was 90. I finished, my first job was 89. So, and then I started doing motion graphics. So I was problem solving. I knew there was COSA, which was before After Effects. And then I thought, well, Photoshop is like an old downshooter. And if you treat the Photoshop layers as like layers of cell, and you can do camera moves and you can add motion. If you want to do it, you can do it. And it's just, I come from a world of frame by frame. We used to call it nudge fucking, you know, like you just nudge and it's fucking hard work. Time consuming, but it's not in terms of that. You're not talking about 30 seconds of animation. You're just talking about this very simple transition. And he had pretty much the state of the art equipment then. I mean, if he's using, what was it?
I forget. Well, I mean, here's the problem with this video that I found out today was that the crop circle came out in 96. In the video, they talk about it coming out in 86. And so everyone was like, they couldn't have made this back then. And that's what kind of skewed me into thinking like, oh shit, like they couldn't have done this in 86 on a personal level. And then the video at the end says like, well, actually, you know, we know the crop circle came out in 96. So the video's wrong.
Yeah. Even 80s. I'm trying to, Quantel paint box. I remember like I was at college. We had paint box and that was something very similar. And that was 80. I was at college, 86, 88. I think 87, I was there. So even 86, I wouldn't say it was impossible. Even 86, although it was really slow going, that sort of stuff. I remember seeing the rest of that video. You know, the one where they interview and they talk about him and like, they're just making everything suspicious. And it's not. They talk about him working on productions and having limited companies, but there's no website. But in that line of business, I know that like, when people make short films or any little thing, you very quickly set up a limited company. You don't do a website. It's purely just to have a bank account with that money in. Purely economic. You set up not a website. You set up your limited company. You get your business done. You get your short film
you can't
done.
Pay for a website because you can't continue it after the company's gone.
No, it's there to be disposed of. And so none of that was suspicious. That's just normal behavior of, you know, like people who make feature films, short films, documentaries. And that's what he was doing. And I had to do the same when I did the Pogues video. We set up Greyhound Productions and it was just for the life of that one spot. We didn't need, even if it was today, you wouldn't need a website for it. You'd have a website for you personally, but I mean, it was kind of cool watching it because it related to what I do and my history.
Let me tell you what I thought was going to happen. I thought maybe that this wouldn't have been possible to make back then because I have no connection to this realm of doing your own effects at this time. And I was like, oh, well, one idea is if the video was real in any way, that he could have been paid to claim that it was fake so that people would just look the other way and never look at crop circles again. Because, you know, my obsession with crop circles is when you see the electromagnetic anomalies and how batteries die when you're in the ones where the stocks are not broken. I think that's fascinating. And when I first saw this video, it fascinated the shit out of me. Heard it was fake. And I was like, oh, fuck. Hopefully that never happens again where I believe something that's not real, you know?
So you're thinking that like one idea is that it was real and then he was paid to pretend it wasn't? By later on saying
only because that crop circle only existed for 2 days. So
well, I'd say it'd be. I also say, you know, I mean, like the red flags beyond the fact that I think you could do it relatively easily, and easily is the wrong word because you know it takes effort and skill, but you can do it, and it doesn't shock.
And he got lucky. He got lucky seeing a crop circle the day it was made. Went to work, and then it was gone the next day.
Unless he heard about it on the grapevine that it was going to be done, you know, that the guys who were doing it, you know, they could have been the same guys.
It's a pretty simple. It's a pretty simple one.
Yeah,
I mean,
so it could have been
there's also the option that there was never a crop circle there, right?
That one is on the list though. That I mean, they have pictures of it. They know existed for 2 days. Like that one.
Okay.
Hoaxed or not, it was there for 2 days.
You can tell it's I got the smoking gun right here. If you go to in the one that I sent you, if you go to 10 seconds and you watch it to 12 seconds, you can see the grass right in the middle get lighter, and you can tell that's like where he started painting out the mat because there's no reason for it to kind of do that. I don't know. That's the most suspicious part to me from 10 to 12 seconds. Right in the middle.
You get that on? The other big red flag is that of all people to video this is a guy who's got any experience in, you know,
right,
you know, painting things out and graphics, and It'd be like if you discovered, Rick Baker discovering the abominable snowman. You'd be like, not sure on that one.
It just doesn't look
darker.
natural
This
to me.
is brighter. Yeah, I see what you're saying. It was brighter before because the matte started here, not on the shadow.
Exactly.
The other one
so you can see right there. There's no shadow, but it's getting lighter. Just go back to 10 and play it for Miles to see, because I want to know if I'm right.
Here, I'll go back earlier. Here we go.
Okay.
Here it comes.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a fade on with a matte, and it's just
right.
Yeah, and that light, you just shoot that against black or something, and he could have just shot it with a camera, some light or something, move the camera roughly, and then we use our imaginations, and we
I mean, it looks great. It looks great for that time. Like, of course, that's going to fool some people.
You see what you want to see in this stuff, I do remember seeing this years ago. I really do. And I thought because where did I see it? Was it on TV? I can't remember.
Those weird mystery compilations of stuff. It was definitely.
I kind of feel like it was so ubiquitous. It was just kind of like, I feel like everyone's seen it,
Yeah. I just wish we had, but I mean, when I say, is it possible to do? Well, yeah, I see it as being possible to do, and not. I don't think what I'm getting at. I don't think it's so impossible that we have to fly to the idea that only aliens did it. I just think it's it's very doable as a fake, and when I look at it, it does just look like a fade up with a matte reveal. It's not anything other. It's not like suddenly seeing. I don't really see a pattern with it.
My interpretation of why they even see orbs around some of these crop circles is whatever the energy is that's coming from the Earth that's making these geometric patterns, they somehow tap into that energy and use it as some kind of fuel. So like it's not that they're there for the crop circle. The energy's there, makes the crop circle, but they're also using that energy also. It's kind of like if there was lightning somewhere. And they were like, if you've ever seen sprites, because there's like UFOs around sprites. Sprites are when lightning happens above the clouds, there's these little flashes of energy that happen on top that are not a part of the lightning. And they find UFOs around there too. And it's just kind of like, if there was some kind of, it's just harnessing natural energy is what is my take on it. And it doesn't have to be that there's anything in that craft or, but that they're there because the energy's there.
Well, okay, so wait, yeah, I mean
that's too much of a leap for me.
It's well, you just switched gears like really quickly into if this were real, like what are those orbs? Right, is what you're saying?
Not from this video. The connection is people see orbs around crop circles all the time.
Willie, my question to you is: it feels like crop circles are kind of the most busted thing.
That's my take on it. Yeah.
Why do you still have the inkling in you to believe any of it?
It's just from people recording data of batteries dying and their cell phones not working in the circle of the ones with the nodes that are, right. The nodes are weird because it doesn't make sense.
But did anyone check like these nodes? Because I looked briefly into that. Like nodes in fields next to it, or nodes outside the crop circles, or nodes just, you know what I mean? Like if you're going to analyze the crop circle, you want to make sure you've analyzed fields that are not got crop circles in them, and see if there's nodes anywhere there. See if it's
from what I've seen, you step on a stalk like that, a lot of them break. In the anomalous ones, they didn't break. And they've also been heat. They've also like.
It depends how dry they are, doesn't it? I mean, I've stood on plants and things, and if it's dry, it'll snap, and if it's still moist, it won't snap.
Well, I mean, I agree with you. Definitely at night, it's probably more moist than
yeah, that's what I mean.
Most,
yeah, so.
but like in the ones that they know are like definitely fake, like the stalks are broken, and so I'm also going off of other people's data, but I've watched a lot of videos of people trying to analyze this, because it's hard for a company to analyze this, because most companies don't want to be involved with this at all. I understand that, yes, the companies that are taking this on, maybe they want to believe things too, so they're coming at it from a standpoint of trying to prove what they believe before they even get started.
Yeah.
But I definitely have seen things like, look, my phone works, it's 100%. I walk into the circle and then it's dead. The battery has been drained like instantaneously. Like, I've seen that a couple times, and that's
when you
say
you've seen that, what do you mean? You've been there, or you saw it in a documentary?
No, people with the video cameras trying to prove it, being like, "Look, okay, phone's 100%. Walk into the circle, it dies." And so that's where I'm coming from. Is like, I've seen weird things. Secondhand account. It's just anomalous. That doesn't happen in the clearly faked ones, and clearly now they have really good fake crop circles that are like advertisements, and but if you go look at those, the stocks are definitely broken. It's not like,
it's not, I don't even think they're not trying to fake shit anymore. Now it's just graffiti, right? It's
no,
like,
for sure, but there's nothing anomalous in the ones that the intricate ones they're making now.
No, I understand. That's part of the other thing is, like, when was the last anomalous crop circle that you know of?
It's still pretty constant, because there's, picture the field of anybody that believes in this. It's nonstop. They're just trying to prove something. And so there are still, I'm going to say there was one within the last year.
What countries?
There's always some around Stonehenge.
Is it mainly the UK?
There are some out here too.
But they were later, weren't they? I mean, just from reading about it very, very quickly, just before we've been chatting.
When I say First Nations, I'm saying Navajos. Navajos have stories of crop circles. That's in the realm of, there's something to this to me. Because
listen, I mean, I'm not telling you to not believe in it. I just, like, this is one of the ones where it's like, damn, there's like so much. Look, here's how you fake it, and I just like, when it comes to like the magnetic field and stuff like that, I would almost believe it more if it didn't have anything to do with aliens, right? If it was just like a
that's what I'm getting at. Like, I like, forget about the orbs. Like I said, I think the orbs only show up because there's some energy happening. That doesn't matter if aliens are real or not. I think that there's the geometric patterns are toroid fields of energy. And that creates geometric patterns. Energy in 3D would show up as the cross section of it coming up.
I don't know. I'd like to see, because a lot of these aren't super geometric. I mean, it's circles, but like, now when you look it up, there's like, they're doing like snowflakes. They're doing like all kinds of stuff. And even the Led Zeppelin one, it's like, oh god,
yeah, that one's definitely, it's not symmetric
on both symmetric. Yeah,
that one's definitely like clunky in a weird way, like where you even the lines aren't that straight. And even though that was fascinating and mysterious back then, definitely the technology grows with the technology of being able to fake them,
right?
And so I see that too, that like there's the intricate ones, there's not many intricate ones from the 80s.
I mean, I still see it as a modern thing, because I'd have to see the stories. It's the way I always say it's the way we interpret the stories. I mean, you say there's been stories about crop circles in the past, Native American ones or whatever, but then is it really about crop circles, or is it about crop damage, or some, spirit thing that's affected their crops? Or, well, no, because they were hunter-gatherers, weren't they? So I'm not sure. Well, it depends, doesn't it? It depends what culture you're talking about. I have no idea which culture. But if your crops are your primary thing, so you're going to focus on that. So whether or not the story is really about crop circles, or we just imagine and reinterpret them and project our own ideas on those stories. Because there's no illustrations. There weren't illustrations that were documentary stuff.
Right. Like in the same vein, like me even just saying that, I'm like, well, this is secondhand account too. There's no pictures. I'm trying to look up if there's any sort of like drawings in any way.
Or just any story. And I just know the one that was in one of the documentaries, that might have even been that. I was looking up crop circles, and there was one 16 or 1800s, the British one. And I just didn't see anything. There was this one sort of looked like a woodcut illustration, and it was sort of concentric, like ovals. but it was to do with the fire. It was just a very simplistic.
I can fully accept anything that I believe in this realm might not even be real. The reason why I like this topic and bring this up is because it was so easy for me for so long to be like, oh, there's nothing to it. Somebody faked it. And so like when you have that, it seems very convenient to me in all realms of everything paranormal to be like, oh, they debunked it. So I don't need to look at it again. And I compare it to UFOs because, all the different projects that we've had, Project Blue Book and whatnot, where the Air Force is like, oh, there's nothing to this stuff. And then they keep coming back to, well, we're spending money on it again because we don't know what it is. But there's nothing.
I think that's kind of what I'm keying into, though, on the difference. Like, I understand believing in UFOs still because it's still current and there's still kind of like things happening. And now we're calling them UAPs. And it's like, oh, so the government is like renaming them. So this is like still an ongoing thing. Crop circles, I just haven't heard that much of. And it just feels like every time you hear about them, it's some kind of hoax, So I was just curious as to why, like, you're maintaining your belief.
Like I said, the only thing that keeps me going are just the anomalous things. Where it's like, this is crazy. Batteries in a crop circle, crazy.
So is it for you? It's just like, here's a little piece of this puzzle of the world that I'm trying to figure out.
Yeah, I definitely do not think that crop circles are made from aliens or UFOs flying over them and landing pads or shooting energy out or anything in that realm. Definitely not. Even though I do believe that there are intelligent beings flying around, I don't think they're making these things. As far as communication goes, my favorite crop circle of all time is the answer to I can't think of the name of it now. On one of the Voyagers, Sagan and a couple of people came up with this idea of labeling where we are and trying to map us where, we're the third planet. There's 9 planets in our solar system. We're on the third one. Here's where our DNA makeup is. There was a crop circle that was like an answer to that.
Oh,
puzzle.
yeah. I remember talking about that.
It's only weird because most people couldn't decipher what the messages that we were sending out. But obviously, whoever made it is one of these people that were in on whatever this description was.
I mean, if you're going to take your time and like fake a whole thing, you're going to do a little research, right? And be like, oh, yeah, here's what he was doing. All right, so here's what we'll put here.
We're going to answer it.
Right.
42.
It is a good one, though.
The Arecibo message is what it's called. This thing right here is the Arecibo message. It's like looking at this could decode the planets. I know that there's the makeup of what we're made of, carbon, and this is a drawing of a human. This is a depiction of the device that we sent the message on. This is the satellite. Here's the sun, Mercury, Venus, Earth. We're on Earth. So these are the planets. There's a lot of weird stuff in here that they sent this out to scientists and most of them couldn't decode it, but they still sent it out.
Didn't they do an etching of that on a sort of like a piece of metal as well? I remember something like that, don't you? With all those shapes and the human body. And
yeah, it was like, hey, aliens, here we are. Come and get us.
I know. It's so weird. Here's what we're made of. Here's everything you get to defeat us. So there was a crop circle that was, and this is the drawing of it. There was an answer to the Arecibo message where it was like, okay, there's different. The DNA pattern's different. The head is big, which is convenient. And this is the device that they use to send the message on. Well, there was a fascinating crop circle that came out after this that was just like, I mean, it's pretty cool. But yeah, there's a 1-to-1 here of someone knowing what this is. And then this was a crop circle. Arecibo answer.
So who sent that message then? That one you just showed us. Who sent
that one was on that one they put on the Voyager 2, I believe. It was a binary message that if you played it out.
But the answer, the one with the big head.
This was a crop circle. So somebody did the drawing of it.
Which is like an insane amount of work.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Holy moly.
That's
so here's
art.
The head.
Can you imagine trying to do that? Jesus. What a waste of time.
And poor farmer. Hold on. The cops say you can't harvest your wheat until we've analyzed this. And so this is the thing that I was saying, this crop circle here is at the bottom of that Arecibo message. So some people were saying this is the device energy that they use to send messages. This is what this is.
Right.
So, it's fascinating, fun sci-fi stuff, but it's definitely curated to people who follow this stuff.
Oh my gosh. I'm just thinking, like Wade's saying, the amount of work. Oh my, I get tired looking at it.
Yeah.
I mean, look at this thing. Like, yeah, it's
We get a team of people doing it. Mark it all out.
And then
I'm sure once you start
fucks
making
up,
them, they get
right.
easy.
One guy like pushes the wrong thing down, and then you gotta go 3 miles over and start all over again.
like this one was always very cheesy to me.
Yeah, that's
An
just
evil mantis like gray alien, and then this thing right here. This is a binary message. Yeah. So here's
I can work it out now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. I love the way they've done the shading, which is
I know, dude. Gray alien, and then there's a binary message in here that says, "Beware the deceivers," that are sending you messages or something like that.
The shading gives it away though, because
it does give it away. Yeah.
That's not going to happen. They're going to shade the fucking thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. So it's like, oh gosh.
Yeah.
Let's analyze those stocks. Are they bent? Are the nodes in there?
The node thing, I don't really have an answer to, because I don't know enough about the nodes. Apart from I'd want to know what nodes are like in other fields and compare them and understand them a bit more. And so I have no idea about that.
It's interesting. It's fun to talk about. I don't know, man. I'm never going to believe in any crop circles. I just won't.
Yeah.
I've just heard too much anti-crop circle stuff.
And I'm leaning towards coming back over the fence. I like to weigh the things that I really care about. Fluoride in the water. Is there
throw it down a couple notches? Yeah. I'll care about that once I figure out this fluoride thing. Everything you think, I don't believe. I just don't believe anything that you think. It's so crazy. It's so crazy that we're friends. This is how like a Democrat and a Republican can be friends. It's as long as you don't talk about politics, you can be friends. Is what I'm saying.
It's like as long as we're still drinking beers and like doing other things, like the politics is not the focus.
Right. Yeah, if I hung out with you and every night it was like fluoride and crop circles, we would not be friends anymore. We just wouldn't. Miles, do you have anything upcoming that you want to tell the internet about?
Oh, the big Los Angeles Animation Festival is the first weekend of December, 6th, 7th, and 8th of December at the Eastwood Performing Arts Center in Los Angeles. It's going to be 3 days of the best in old school and new animation. We've got a celebration of Max Fleischer cartoons, Betty Boop, Popeye, Superman. Mm-hmm. And they were all restored recently. I've got the Soho Cinema Club, again at the Eastwood Performing Arts Center in Los Angeles. You can go to sohocinemaclub.com. We're showing this coming Friday, Whatever Happened to Baby Jane. Then 2 weeks after that, we're showing Dr. Strangelove, the full length on Super 8 with a full supporting program. Willie's seen them.
Wow.
We do everything. It's going to be a lot of fun. Baby Jane's going to be fun this Friday, and Strangelove. And we're doing a double bill, Strangelove and Failsafe. It's the abridged version of Failsafe. It's a 400-foot, 18-minute version, but it's with the full-length Strangelove. And if you don't know, Failsafe I think it's based on the same book. Came out the same year as Strangelove. It's the same story, but it's straight. It's not played as a comedy. So it's really, really interesting. And then on this coming Friday, we got Baby Jane with Straight Jacket, which is the Joan Crawford crazy hatchet killing woman.
Yeah.
Again, that's abridged. That's 18 minutes long, but with the feature film Baby Jane. Whatever happened to Baby Jane? So yeah, we've got those, and I'm starting on a new project called Indie Film LA, which is open mic screenings where we have lots of feedback and discussions on short films of any kind whatsoever. I've already set that up on Film Freeway, so you go to Indie Films LA. It's free to enter. You should really be living in Los Angeles because it's open mic. So we want discussion, Q&As, all that good stuff. Build community. It's like, and on Thursday, we've got our next meetup. So it's really keeping the indie film world in LA and the film community going.
Awesome, dude. I'm gonna make some films. I'm gonna make some films for some of this stuff. Don't hold me to that, but that's my plan. It's not gonna happen. It'll be on my iPhone. That's fine, right?
Yeah, just don't go and make it in the middle of a crop circle because your phone will go dead.
You got to shoot from the outside.
From the outside. Yeah.
Well, thanks for coming back. And we're going to continue this conversation. You're going to stick around to the bonus episode?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So who knows what we're going to be talking about? Go to patreon.com/reallifesci-fi. Get access to the bonus episode. We're going to be talking to Miles Flanagan about, I don't know, something. It'll be interesting. Thanks, everyone, for listening or watching or whatever you're doing. And remember, just because you're paranoid doesn't mean they're not after you. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
All right.
Real life sci-fi.